For every bomb that we build, we're literally taking the food and housing and education and healthcare away from the domestic policies. We need more domestic spending, less militarism. We need to keep the military, but it's just such a bloated, sacred cow right now. That little shrimpy, whiny Daniel Mongiardo said that Ashley Judd isn't right about coal. Well, her stances on coal isn't going to be for Kentucky. They're not going to like that. Nobody's against coal. When people say, oh, you're against coal, you're anti-coal. Coal is just a rock. It's just a resource, okay? No one's against a rock. Now, how that rock is distributed is what people are talking about. Should only the rich people get to mine that rock and then take all the profits for themselves? Or can we be like Bolivia, who nationalized their mines, their tin mines, and I think silver mines? They nationalized their mines just like a lot of Middle Eastern countries do with their oil fields. And they're able to use the profits from the oil to make their country a bumping country. Gaddafi, he was a tyrant, and we got rid of him or whatever, but before we got rid of him, he was able to offer a pretty strong middle class way of life. Their first house was free health care. You'd get a free car, electricity was free. You would get so much money just to start out in life when you first married. $50,000 just to start off. That's Gaddafi with his oil. Kentucky could do the same thing with their coal. We could also do, just nationalize coal. I think they're exactly 100% right about the coal. I think legalizing marijuana would also bring in, and these are $1 trillion ideas. If we nationalize coal, I don't know if we'd make $1 trillion, but we'd make millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars. We'd make a ton of money to put into the coffers to be able to spend more money on schools, hospitals, roads, bridges, maintenance, paying for government workers, public projects. There's a lot of things that we need in Kentucky, but nationalizing coal would be a good thing. That's what I would support. I'm also against mountaintop removal, where these rich coal companies are just decapitating these mountains and they're putting it on the streams, and the Appalachians, they don't have running water, so they're drinking out of these streams and these creeks, and they're getting sick because they're drinking out of these coals. These streams that have all these arsenic and all these different toxins running through their streams and creeks. King Cole's choked Kentucky. Daniel Mongiardo doesn't know what he's talking about. Daniel Mongiardo only knows how to lose elections. He don't know how to win the elections. He only knows how to lose them. So he wants to say, well, she doesn't know. She's not Kentucky. She is Kentucky. You're not Kentucky, Mongiardo. You have not been able to win any of your elections. And I think Brashear totally backstabbed you too for some reason. So nobody's against coal. Who's going to be against a natural resource? That's like hating the sun. No one hates the sun. That's stupid to even assume that. If anything, you are hating the communities and you're hating the workers. The coal companies are mechanizing. They're losing jobs. They're not paying. Some of them are paying pretty well. But other ones prevent unions from even forming, so there's no solidarity, and they don't give back to the community. So they just take all the stuff, they use the roads, they use the fire departments, they use the police to make sure all their workers and themselves and their factories are intact and no one's robbing or taking anything from them. They use all these resources, but they don't give back. And that's not right. King Cole's choked Kentucky for decades now. Rand Paul didn't even know about the Harlan County strike, so these people who's criticizing Ashley don't even know about workers' rights and worker struggles. Mountaintop removal is ridiculous. Coal should be nationalized. It should be for all the Commonwealth. Bolivia nationalized tin and silver mines. Countries are allowed to take their natural resources in their borders. So Kentucky, is like a little triangle, right? Well, it looks like that to me, so I guess it looks like that to you. So within our borders, we're allowed to take whatever natural resources for us. The government is just a tool. It can be used for the people, it can be used against the people, it can be used for corporations, or it can be used against the corporations. But government's the only tool that we have against the corporations, against the corporatists, against the statists, against the ruling elite. Is all we have is the government. So Rand Paul's argument is the government's been taken over by corporations and they're using it as a bludgeon against the people, which is true. But if the people was able to get a hold of the government and turn it back on the corporations, turn it back on King Coal, we can have a better place here. We're not trying to bankrupt anybody. I think any job that is offered that cannot provide a living wage should be illegal. That's another FDR ideal. If you work 40 hours a week and you're still working class, if you're still working poor, then that job should be wiped out. That should be illegal. You should not be able to make a person work a full-time job and not being able to pay them a living wage. If they don't get a living wage out of the full-time work that they put in, then that job is illegal. That should not be allowed. That's criminal. That's criminal. To make someone slave for that many hours for you and for them not to be able to provide for their basic necessities of life. So that's from a union perspective. That's from a working class person perspective. So we're nation state theory. We're allowed to take that coal. That coal is ours. Take it, put it into public coffers. We could have free electricity for our people. Free electricity, just like Gaddafi was providing for his people. We could have free electricity here in Kentucky. We could also put the money within the education, computers, iPads for the kids, infrastructure, roads, healthcare, etc. So, again, Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, they want to sit there and just gangbang Ashley Judd before Ashley Judd even gets to the plate. They want to go ahead and just beam her with pitches while she's in the dugout. That's while she's in the stands. She ain't even in the dugout. She ain't even said, hey, I'd like to play ball. She's in the stands just watching. No, she's actually at home. They're throwing the ball. Okay, whatever. This analogy's getting crazy. But they are going after her before she's even in the race. I mean, before she's even in the ring. They're throwing jabs at her, before she even gets in the ring to fight, which... It shows they're vulnerable, shows that they're weak. But Mitch McConnell, these people, I don't know how they can get away with some of the things that they say that's ridiculous. Mitch McConnell has been embarrassing Kentucky for decades. He's been in there for 3 decades. But Mitch McConnell was Bush's bitch. Mitch McConnell was hook, line, and sinker. Everything that George W. Bush wanted, Mitch McConnell was his butt boy. Rubber stamped everything that George W. Bush wanted. Just constantly, just 100%. Mitch was W. Bush's bitch. He was a pro-Iraq war lapdog. Anything Bush is for, dismantle Social Security, Mitch McConnell's behind there. Go to war with Iraq, Mitch McConnell's right behind there. So he was a butt boy, rubber stamping every decision that came his way, just for the Republican Party, for the wealthy and the rich. So poor Kentucky was losing this entire time. But he's a psychopath. So he's a Republican. He's been in there forever. He only cares about the wealthy. He's very, very cold. He's like a Dracula, but he's also a hypocrite. He brings all these earmarks into Kentucky, which is socialism. He steals America's appropriations for Kentucky's state projects. He's at the ribbon-cutting ceremonies that Obama's talking about, such as the Mitch McConnell Center at U of L, which is just a modern-day Mandrasa, which is just a Republican promulgation system. It's just a Republican seating program. So Mitch McConnell's bringing programs and buildings and money into the state, but he's stamping his name on it, and he's making sure that Republicans are coming out of these programs, making sure that they're all conservative. There's McConnell buildings, McConnell this, McConnell that. So he gets socialism, he gets pork into Kentucky, and then denounce it. He bites the hand that feeds. He says, Obama, you're a socialist. Now earmark me this project, earmark me that project. Now that you got Rand Paul and the Tea Party movement and the Republican Party going down, you got Mitch McConnell embracing Rand Paul and the Tea Parties. So now all of a sudden, Mitch McConnell's 100% against earmarks. How unfair. We shouldn't be allowed earmarks. That's not right. So he did an about-face. He did a 180. He's a flip-flopping, about-facing, 180ing, turn around, go this direction, then turn around and go the opposite direction just because it's politically expedient type of shithead. And then it also shows he bites the hands that feed, does with no remorse. These senators are callous. It's sickening how callous they are. Also, 1967, why did Mitch McConnell, why did he get discharged? I don't know, somebody brought that up. So, that's Mitch McConnell. Now, Rand Paul isn't much better. Rand Paul says that Ashley Judd is in Kentucky because she's not in Kentucky currently. But Rand Paul's not Kentucky. He got to Kentucky in 93. He's basically just 2/5 of a Kentuckian, 20 years out of 50 years. I got Rand Paul beat by 11 years. I was born in 1982. He got to Kentucky in 93. I was 11 years old when Rand decided to come to my state. So welcome to my state, Rand. I'm glad you showed up. I'm glad you decided to be an optometrist in Bowling Green. So, you know, I've been in Kentucky most of my life. I would say 25 out of 30 years, so that's 83% Kentuckian. Also got deep roots. The Grip Server's been in America for 5 generations. 1869. Grip Servers came into Kentucky in Sanford Town, 1869, Kenton County, Northern Kentucky, which is a German immigrant town. And we German river rats ever since. There have been 4 or 5 generations of grip servers here. That's 4 or 5 generations. Kentuckians on my mother's side, shitload of generations on the Nazi dysphoric borderline side, which is a lot of feudist, Clay County feudist. The Nazi dysphoric borderline, he comes from a long generation of families who fight and kill and stab one another and cannot get along. Rand Paul moved to the Confederate capital, Bowling Green. He's been in Kentucky for 20 years. He's a 50-year-old man, so 20 out of 50. He's Kentuckian, 2/5 of a Kentuckian. And he doesn't have any direct lineage. So Ashley Judd grew up here, loves Kentucky here, visits Kentucky, champions Kentucky, one of the few celebrities who do. Johnny Depp, George Clooney, where the fuck are you guys? Where are you guys at? Johnny Depp, George Clooney, y'all even care about us? Y'all went ahead and struck it rich. Y'all ain't gonna help pull the muck up, try to help the muck move on up to the east side. So, and she's got 10 generations of roots here. So how's Rand Paul gonna question Ashley Judd? Ashley Judd's a hillbilly, redneck, honky, cracker, gringo, paleface queen of the South. Ashley Judd is Kentucky. Ashley Judd is Kentucky's Rose. Ashley Judd is Kentucky's delicate Rose. We understand our celebrities and our heroes and our champions, and we know that Kentucky, Ashley Judd has got our back. She's got our back. And she would represent the Democratic Party well here, very well. She would rejuvenate the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party in Kentucky is not being run right. I don't know why the whole country is seeing something that Kentucky's not seeing. The whole country's going for Obama, but we're still proudly going for the white people. No, we're not voting black. No, no, no. Why? Why are we so steadfast, so adamantly against the Democrats? Why is Kentucky so adamantly against Barack Obama? What is our Democratic Party here doing unsuccessfully that they're doing successfully in other states? So that's Rand Paul. He doesn't know about Bloody Harlan, the coal miner strike. He doesn't get Kentucky. Rand Paul does not get Kentucky. Rand Paul, he throws all these childish, cheap shots, but he throws a tantrum with Jack Conway. He was like, I'm not going to shake your hand. I'm not going to shake your hand at one of the debates after Jack Conway rolled out that Aqua Buddha ad. So they put out Aqua Buddha where Rand Paul tells some college woman to get down her knees in this creek and to praise Aqua Buddha. Weird college prank, weird thing to do that Rand did. But he was just so outraged that he's like, and watch how I'm not going to shake Jack Conway's hand because of these childish cheap shots. And then he wants to say that she's in Wales or she's in Scotland, so maybe she should run in Scotland. That's a cheap shot, Rand. So here's some cheap shots for you, Rand. Rand Paul, Aqua Buddha. How's your Aqua Buddha been? You want to say you're only for hemp? You're a liar. You're lying, Rand. I liked what you did at TSA. I like you standing up for the TSA people. I don't like that you're not passing anything. I also don't like that you're against the Department of Education. So don't like that you're willing to be a scab who's willing to be a strike breaker. You're willing to break the strike line. Rand, that's not a working class value. You're not a friend of the working class. You're against the Department of Education. Ashley Judd would get in there and bring all them Obama bucks here.